the head of the CIA, as you know, John Brennan, testified today that ISIS is trying to send operatives to the West. Given
That's
that,
correct.
is it time in any way to rethink the idea of accepting thousands of more Syrian refugees? I mean, I know the administration says they undergo significant background checks. I've been on those beaches on the island of Lesbos. When people come ashore, it's heartbreaking. They're men, women, and children. But you also find passports on those beaches ripped up, left behind, people hiding their identities. How can a background check be on someone? How efficient can it be, someone from war-torn Syria, when you don't have the cooperation from the authorities in Syria to give criminal or intelligence information about a person?
Well, I think, this is a hard thing.
All right, so I thought this was pretty important. Anderson Cooper says that the CIA director says that ISIS is determined to send fighters into America, into the United States. And while he's saying the CIA director just told us today, ISIS is determined to attack in the United States, Dianne Feinstein gets this huge shit-eating grin on her face, like the cat that swallowed the canary. Like, yes, I know, this worked so good for my agenda. I can't even keep the smile off my face. I can't wait for the terrorists to get here. This is all you need to know about politicians and the terrorist threat and their gun control agenda. That smile tells you that she's not concerned about stopping the terrorist. That smile tells you terrorists getting into America works really well for her agenda. Yeah, gonna be good. Gonna be fantastic. The terrorists are on their way. People like this, you hear me say over and over again, bloodthirsty, psychopathic killers in the Pentagon, in the White House, in the Congress. This is one of them. Every time a terrorist event happens, this person, this senator, Dianne Feinstein, makes money. Makes money. Every time a terrorist threat, every time there's some type of event, this person, it works for her agenda so that she can push her police state agenda onto you to take away your rights. This person, Dianne Feinstein, loves the terrorist threat. She loves it. She can't wait for the terrorists to get here. That's pretty fucking clear from her reaction. Let me tell you what the terrorist threat is. Every single fucking day, 4-year-old little girls walk across the Mexican border into the United States. Every single fucking day. 4-year-old girls right across the border into the United States illegally. Every single day. You think a trained terrorist can't get into the United States? You think they're trying to stop trained terrorists from getting into? Why is it that 4-year-olds can walk across the damn border all day long illegally with whoever else is with them? I use a 4-year-old for an example, as if a 4-year-old can do it, you would think some kind of trained terrorist could do it too, right? Let's be real clear. The terrorist doesn't need a fucking AR-15 to kill a bunch of people. Okay? You know what it takes? Do you remember a few months ago when the woman in Las Vegas snapped and drove her SUV up onto a busy sidewalk and plowed down like 30-some people? Do you remember that? It was just a couple months ago. They don't need a gun. All they got, oh, the new Star Wars movie's open. People are lined up around the block. Okay, I'm going to go get an SUV and mow down as many of them as I can. That's what the real terrorist threat is. There is no terrorist threat. There is none. Or it's so minute. Anybody who's played Grand Theft Auto knows you don't need a fucking gun to kill people. A lot of people. So we got to take your guns away, because if somebody's charging at you with an SUV, we don't want you to be able to stop them. If somebody's mowing people down on the sidewalk in an SUV, you shouldn't have the ability to stop them. We need to take that away from you. There is no real terrorist threat. And this person pushes fear. Dianne Feinstein pushes fear and more fear and more fear to take away your rights. Not to protect the country, to take away your rights. She's not talking about securing the border. She's talking about taking away your right to protect you and your family. That's what she wants. And you know why? Because that's a threat to her. Because that's a threat to the police state. You know, they keep saying, oh, no one's going to come and take your guns. You know why no one's coming to take your guns? Because you have guns. Because if Barack Obama and Dianne Feinstein and Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton thought that they could just walk up to your house and say, oh, do you have AR-15s? We're going to have to confiscate those. If they thought they could do that, they would have done it already. And the reason they can't do it is because you have guns. That is the only thing that keeps them from doing it. The only thing that keeps them from taking your guns away is the fact that you have guns. And all your other rights, I might add. Your free speech, your freedom of religion, all of that. It goes away without your Second Amendment right. And if you don't believe it, you're not paying attention or listening. Your personal bias blinds you. Again, my name's Mike. This is my YouTube page, Mox News. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to go ahead and play that full clip now so you can see the whole thing of Anderson Cooper and Dianne Feinstein having their little makeout party. Trying to take away your rights. Trying to convince you that you need to have your rights taken away. And that's the whole thing that's going on in the media. It's, oh, no, everything's changed now after this shooting. People really want this. No, they don't. Fuck you. We don't trust you with our rights one little tiny iota. Because we know that if we give you the slightest little bit, you're going to take everything you can. We've seen it. We've watched it. Patriot Act. Oh, yeah, we got to have free speech zones now. You can't just say what you want anywhere you want. We have to have free speech zones. Again, I digress. My name's Mike. This is my YouTube page, Mox News. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm asking everybody to put $1 in my bowl because I need your help to keep moving forward. Mox News has been on the YouTube now for 10 years, 60,000 plus videos on the YouTube. I need your help to continue. So if you put a little something in my bowl, that would be super, super generous of you. Thanks again. Stay cool. One of these days this war is going to end. Not with people like this in power. Because they're going to use it against you to take away your rights over and over again. That's why they don't want it to end. That's why they want it to go forever. Plus, they make money off of it. They should be in prison. Stay cool. Thanks again.
One of the amendments the Senate will vote on next week was proposed by Senator Dianne Feinstein, a longtime gun control proponent and author of the 1994 federal assault weapons ban. The ban, as you may know, expired in 2004. Her new proposal would allow the Attorney General to block the sale of guns and explosives to people who are known or suspected terrorists. Today, the Justice Department backed the measure. I spoke to Senator Feinstein earlier. Senator Feinstein, thank you very much for joining us. Under your proposal, if someone has been on a terror watch list at any point in the 5 years prior to try to buy a gun, they wouldn't be able to purchase a gun, at least not promptly, even if they had been mistakenly on the watch list in the first place or cleared of any suspicion. So am I understanding it right that if someone has broken no law, but still they can't get a gun like everyone else?
Well, no. The process is that if somebody comes in, and this is overwhelmingly foreign, the Americans on this watch list are a small minority, and they go in for a background check, and the background check is evaluated quickly by the Justice Department. And in the totality of the evidence that they find, the Attorney General is enabled to deny the permit to transfer a gun. The individual then has the opportunity to have an administrative review, the due process, or a court process, whichever they want. So this would catch somebody. Now, as far as Mateen is concerned, there's a provision in it that if within the last 5 years you have been under investigation for terror by the FBI, you would qualify for denial.
But just because somebody's been under investigation, if they actually weren't found to have been guilty, they could still be denied a purchase, correct?
Well, yes. The thing is, you want to stop a potential terrorist. This morning, we listened to the director of the FBI, who said very clearly that they believe that the attempts to attack are going to increase, not decrease. And these people that come in aren't stupid, and they know they can buy a gun here. They're not going to risk it on the plane. So this is an opportunity to prevent that gun sale. Now, I mean, do we want to stop this or try to stop it, or do we want to let it continue to happen? I've watched this for so long, Anderson, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. You know, since 1968 with the Texas Bell Tower, and then later on with schools and businesses. Now we're into hate/terror, and we're into the largest shooting we've ever had and killing of Americans next to 9/11. So isn't it time to try to do something? This is just one small bit, and somehow it's exaggerated into a huge thing.
The head of the CIA, as you know, John Brennan, testified today that ISIS is trying to send operatives to the West. Given
That's
that,
correct.
is it time in any way to rethink the idea of accepting thousands of more Syrian refugees? I mean, I know the administration says they undergo significant background checks. I've been on those beaches on the island of Lesbos. When people come ashore, it's heartbreaking. They're men, women, and children. But you also find passports on those beaches ripped up, left behind, people hiding their identities. How can a background check be on someone, how efficient can it be, someone from war-torn Syria, when you don't have the cooperation from the authorities in Syria to give criminal or intelligence information about a person?
Well, I think, you know, this is a hard thing, and we don't admit that many people, particularly in comparison with Europe. And I think the vetting takes a long time. I get complaints on the length of time it takes, and I think the department has really toughened their vetting procedure. That's everything that I hear. So I would be really surprised if people slip through. Now, do we have to be vigilant? Yes. I understand the concern. I also understand what the Republican candidate for president is saying, and it's very hard when you try to be reasonable and somebody is coming up with the statements that Mr. Trump is, and that is, cut it off, you know. No immigrants that are Muslim can come into this country. So that makes it very hard to develop a considered provision when you're up against that standard.
Senator Dianne Feinstein, I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm the leading state sponsor of terrorism.